Brent Moore, Executive Director of the Children's Safety Village of Central Florida. I'd like to welcome you this year to our 8th annual Water Safety Awareness event. Central Florida, along with the rest of the world, is going through a pandemic, and we still have some information we want to share with you about water safety. May is National Water Safety Awareness Month, and the information that we provide to you today will hopefully help you forever. The Children's Safety Village is a 501c3 located right next to the Central Florida Fairgrounds. For about 25 years, the Safety Village has educated over 100,000 children on things like pedestrian safety, bike and helmet safety, dangerous person awareness, 911 for kids, fire safety, water safety. And today we have some partners and some other organizations that want to share this information with you. So we're glad that you're here today, the viewing audience, and we look forward to having many more of these educational opportunities for you. So to start off, I want to introduce Deputy Chief from Orange County Fire Rescue, David Rathman. Good morning, David. How are you?
I'm doing great, Brent. Good morning to everybody that's listening. First off, on behalf of the Orange County Fire Rescue Chief James Fitzgerald, nearly the 1,500 men and women in the Orange County Fire Rescue Department, I'd like to personally thank you as the Executive Director, Brent, and the entire Board of Directors of the Children's Safety Village for hosting this event each year. This annual event educates parents, children, and the community on best practices and the fundamental importance of water safety, and more importantly, just teaching children how to swim. Drowning, as we all know, is a leading cause of death for children 1 to 4 years of age. According to the Centers for Disease Control, 3 children die every day as a result of drowning. Think about that. 3 children every single day drown in the United States. As fire rescue, we're the ones that respond to these tragic calls. I can tell you our best success is when we can prevent these incidents from occurring and eliminate the need for an emergency response by us. With more people being home due to the COVID-19 pandemic, pool season started early this year, and unfortunately, the Orange County Fire Rescue Department responded to a number of near drowning emergencies earlier in the year than we typically have seen in previous years. With all the kids being home from school and the stay-at-home orders, children and parents alike are taking advantage of the pools to cool off in this strange time in which we live in today. In 2019, Orange County Fire Rescue Department responded to 25 pediatric near drownings. The peak summer months have yet to arrive, and our crews have already had 4 near drowning incidents. We want people to enjoy the year-round warm climate here in Florida, but we also want them to be safe. Enrolling children in swim lessons is essential to their safety. Not only do they learn to have confidence in the water, but valuable experience such as learning how to float and how to move through the water. These skills help to greatly reduce the risk of an emergency. The CDC reports that formal swimming lessons can reduce the risk of drownings by as much as 88% among children 1 to 4, which again is the highest at-risk age group. Earlier this month, Orange County Fire Rescue Department rolled out water safety campaign to provide families with easy tips to help protect their kids around pools. We emphasize the importance of teaching children to ask before they splash, installing fences around pools, alarms on doors and windows that alert when opened, and designating a water watcher to actively supervise children in, or as importantly, around the pool. A designated water watcher is a lesson that I learned personally a few years ago. To kind of personalize a little story, we had a family gathering at the house, and a number of the children were over with their children, and I was sitting on the couch watching a football game, and my oldest son went outside with his son, and we're playing ball, and my granddaughter from another child followed them out unbeknownst to him. And I just sat there and observed, and we had not at that time designated a water watcher. And I just watched her as she approached a pool, and before I could get off the couch to go out and get her from falling in the pool, she had already fallen in the pool, thank goodness in the shallow end, where I could easily grab her. And all that took place unbeknownst to my son and his son that were playing ball and had their backs turned to her. They didn't hear the splash, and immediately my granddaughter was at the bottom of the pool. Luckily, I witnessed it, and I ran out there, I grabbed her by her arm and snatched her out of the pool, and it all ended well. But from this point forward, at these large family gatherings, we ensure that we have a water watcher designated in the family. A lot of times the parents will assume that their siblings are watching all of the children and they're not necessarily watching their own children at family gatherings. Of course, knowing CPR is also crucial in the unfortunate event a drowning incident does occur. The chances of survival are significantly increased when CPR is administered until medical professionals arrive. I cannot emphasize enough to parents and caregivers the importance of water safety. Never leave children unattended around water. Teach children to swim and learn CPR. These life-saving tips can help prevent childhood drowning. With that, Brent, I'd like to turn it back over to you for introducing the next person speaking.
David, thank you. And we value the partnership we have with Orange County Fire Rescue and look forward to many more years to come. Next up is the new fire chief of the Orlando Fire Department, Benjamin Barksdale. Good morning, Benjamin. How are you? Benjamin, good morning. How are you?
Yeah, good morning, Brent. Good to see you this morning.
We appreciate you being a part of this year. I know you're new to the city of Orlando, but I know you have some great information you'd like to share with the viewing public. So I'll go ahead and turn it over to you.
Yes, thank you for this opportunity to convey our message from the city of Orlando. So yes, as the summer weather nears and our communities to begin to open and more families are returning to water for recreational activity, of course, our personnel are training for surface water rescue emergencies for these busy summer months that are up ahead. So, while at home, as it's been stated, ensure that your pool has the proper enclosures to avoid access without permission, and that all of your gates and doors that lead to the pool area should have some sort of an alarm to know that if in fact someone enters that area that you're notified. Another great option for making your swimming pool a safer place is investing in a surface wave or underwater detection pool alarm, again, to alert you if someone enters the pool. Whether at home or in the public or any other recreational water area, the most important element of increasing the safety around the fun activities around the water is, as been stated, swimming lessons. Swimming lessons are offered by numerous recognized organizations and are available for all ages. Learning to swim not only provides individuals with the skills and ability to have fun, but it also allows the swimmer to develop an awareness of their own capabilities and limitations, which can help them avoid trouble before it even starts. At the water side, as stated, yes, you should have a water watcher, and this should be a responsible adult that agrees to keep an eye on the participants in the water, and make sure that, of course, there's a cell phone that's nearby in case of emergency. But the water watchers need to make sure that they avoid all distractions. And a lot of times on TV and movies, they misrepresent drownings and incidents with loud splashes or cries for help. But again, as the chief just stated, when his granddaughter fell in the pool, it's often silent. These tragedies occur in silence and can only be averted with attentive supervision. So lastly, enroll you and your family into a CPR first aid course so you'll be prepared in the event that you have an emergency. We love the water just as much as you do, so remember to swim smart, swim safe, and have fun. Thank you.
Benjamin, thank you very much. And as I mentioned, I know you're new to the Central Florida community, but we appreciate everything that you've done thus far.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is from the Florida Department of Health, Orange County, Ms. Najim James. And I know you were part of this last year, and we're happy to have you back again this year. So I'll give you that opportunity to share the information you have for the viewing audience.
Absolutely. Thank you, Brett. My name is Naseem James, Department of Health, and I want to thank the Children's Safety Village for your partnership and unwavering commitment to water safety. The Department of Health Orange County wants to remind you that water safety is everyone's responsibility. Drowning is a silent catastrophe that can happen at any time, and it can happen in the time that it takes to respond to a text message, to check something on the stove, or to change the channel. And so as parents and guardians, we need to be vigilant. Some facts: in the state of Florida, we are the leading cause of accidental death among children is drowning. In 2017, we saw a high number, 25 children that drowned in a pool or spa in the state of Florida. And so we've been working diligently to ensure that that number never gets that high again. 88% of the children who drowned were under the supervision of an adult. 60% of the children who drowned were within 10 feet of something that we consider to be safety. And so increased access, we're in the state of Florida, increased access to water is a major risk factor in drowning. Children who live near open water sources, such as ditches, ponds, irrigation channels, and pools are especially at risk because we tend to not look at those areas as risks. And so water safety is not just in the backyard at the pool or at the public pool. It is also ensuring that these ditches and ponds and just standing water situations we're also protecting our children. We want to also remind you to ensure that there are 3 layers of protection anytime you're around a pool. The first layer is going to be supervision. Supervision is the most crucial layer of protection. It means that everyone around the pool is actively watching the children that are in the pool. That is ensuring that you have, as others have said, a water watcher, and that person who is a water watcher knows that they are designated as the water watcher. We have the water watcher necklaces, that is something you can give to that person, and until that person hands that necklace off to someone else, they are the designated water watcher. The second is barrier. Ensure that you have physical barriers that block children from the pool, especially children who do not know how to swim. And this is especially important for homes who have pools. You want a gate, a child-safe gate, ensure that access areas, doors, screens to the pools are maintained and locked whenever not in use. And then the third layer is going to be your emergency preparedness. In an emergency, it's crucial that someone knows CPR, to have a phone nearby and to immediately be able to call 911 to get access to other emergency services. Swim lessons and life jackets are also preventative measures that we want to remind you are very effective in water safety. And, encourage your families, moms and dads, take your kids for swim lessons as soon as we can open up and get back to the pool. Install pool fences and around spas, not just pools, but sometimes spas are a problem. And make sure that if you are having a summer party and you can hire someone to be a full-time lifeguard. Sometimes it's difficult when we have a lot of people and we're going to designate someone who wants to enjoy the festivities as a water watcher. So whenever you can, bring in someone from the outside whose sole responsibility is just to watch that water and watch the children in and around it. Also, we want you to teach children the differences between pools and open water at different depths. Teach kids to swim. Teach kids to never dive into oceans, lakes, and rivers. They don't know the depths, so it's always a good idea to encourage them to never dive when they don't know what the depth is. And then teach children to utilize rescue equipment. And we're not just talking about floaties and those things. If you have older children, that you could also demonstrate how to use rescue equipment. That's always a good idea. The more hands you have on deck watching the water and able to provide critical emergency services, that's going to be the best situation for you and your family. And finally, when we all go back out to the beach, we want you to be aware of rip currents. Everyone needs to heed the warning. Whenever we hear on the news or at the beach, we hear that there's rip tides, you want to avoid the beach and you want to avoid the water at those times. And if you do go in, be extra vigilant. A rip tide is a strong, localized, and narrow current of water which moves directly away from the shore, cutting through the lines of breaking water like a river running out to the sea. If you find yourself in a rip current, these are the steps that you need to take. Keep calm. Don't fight the rip current. To get out of the rip current, swim sideways, parallel to the beach. This will get you out of the rip current so that you could swim back in with the waves helping you along. When out of the rip current, swim at an angle away from the rip current and towards the shore. If you can't escape this way, try to float and calmly tread the water. Rip current strength eventually weakens offshore. When it does, swim away from the rip current toward the shore. And if at any time you're unable to reach the shore, draw attention to yourself. Face the shore, wave your arms, and yell for help. And please remember to keep everyone safe and parents as we get out and open up in the world again. The Department of Health wants to encourage you to reach out to us if you need any information. We have brochures on water safety in 7 different languages. Thank you.
Nasim, thank you very much for your information, especially as it relates to the various water bodies that we have here in the state of Florida. I know your office has been very involved with the COVID updates for Orange County, so thanks for your time and we appreciate it. Up next is Dr. Robert Karch. Dr. Karch also sits with me on a committee, the Central Florida Water Safety Task Force, and he's been integral in getting us revived again and out there promoting water safety. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to welcome Dr. Robert Karch.
Thank you, Brent. Thanks for inviting me today. And it's so nice to be in the presence of all these other speakers from different stakeholders, organizations in the community. I'm a fellow of the American Academy of Pediatrics and a member of the Florida chapter of the American Academy of Pediatrics. As Brent mentioned, I'm also on the Central Florida Water Safety Task Force and involved in the Not One More Florida campaign. Chief gave a personal anecdote. I'd like to do the same. In a week, it will be exactly 1 year on May 28th, 2019, where a pediatric colleague of mine lost her 16-month-old perfectly healthy baby girl in her own home pool, walked right into the pool and was found unconscious and dead. This really triggered my interest and awareness of the extent of the problem here in Florida, and that's when I reached out to Brent at Children's Safety Village. This is a extremely preventable condition, and I'm so thrilled. And what I've come to find is that there's a lot of passion throughout the state of Florida on this issue. We need to communicate, break down silos, and work together. As a member of the Florida chapter of the AAP, I am really looking forward to working with organizations such as the Florida Department of Health. I'm going to echo Ms. James' excellent comments on the layers of protection. This is our messaging that we need to get out across the state. And moving forward, the Florida chapter of the AAP will work with the Florida Department of Health at the state level and the county level, particularly with the Child Abuse Death Reporting Committee, the CADR, and the Office of Injury Prevention to really promote these, the messaging around the layers of protection. So I do look forward to working with the Department of Health. to everyone on this call and others throughout the state to ensure that there's not one more of these preventable deaths here in Florida. Thanks, Brent.
Thank you, Dr. Karch. And for anyone who's in the viewing audience, the website for this Water Safety Task Force is notonemoreflorida.org, all spelled out, and you'll find some very important information on there. And then for the Children's Safety Village, our website is children'ssafetyvillage.org, and you'll see information on there about what we do. I want to thank everybody for being a part of this today. You know, pandemic can't keep us down. You know, we try our best to do whatever we can to help keep children safe. And even through this pandemic, we're able to come together and share this information for the Central Florida community. So I thank everyone for their time today. And we look forward to having this event again next year. Maybe we'll have it at the Children's Safety Village like we've done in the past, but we know we can always do it virtually. So for those in the viewing audience, thanks very much. And for those who were part of this panel today, we want to thank you again. And we want everybody to stay safe and enjoy your Memorial Day weekend.
Thank you.